Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle Mitchell, and I lead We the Culture at Meta. I'm so excited to be here with the Black House Foundation to represent at this year's Sundance Film Festival, spotlighting the work that we're doing for the Black creative community. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge the ancestral keeper of the lands that we're joining from. Los Angeles, California, which is the Chumash, Tonga, Kij, and Fernandeño Tatviam native land, and from Washington, D.C., which is the Nachtank and Anacostan native land. For those of you who don't know, We the Culture is Meta's love letter to Black culture and those who create it. Our overarching goal is to create a community that affords Black creators the access, the opportunity, and resources needed to thrive, to amplify their work, and to make their creativity sustainable. We announced that we were committing $25 million in our first year. And with that, we supported some 600 plus amazing creatives, which launched 19 episodic Facebook Watch original shows, including one of my favorites, Talks with Mama Tina. We also did content deals with creators. We launched a dozen incubators and accelerators focused on increasing the impact of Black creatives across many different media segments, whether it was our Scene Filmmaker program, our fashion program with Pierre Moss, your friends in New York, or our sports incubator, Go Lab. We also had an amazing visual arts program across New York, which was called Not a Monolith. Today, we will be joined by 3 creatives from the inaugural class of We the Culture. Each of them are making waves in their own culture-defining ways. I'm excited to kick off today's conversation with the star of one of our newest shows, Talks with Mama Tina, Miss Tina Knowles-Lawson. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad to see you today. And thank you for joining.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Listen, I'm thrilled to be on the stage with you. You have no idea. Highlight of my life, really. You are an internationally renowned businesswoman. You're a fashion designer, a philanthropist. I want to say a few words about you, even though you need no introduction. Hailing from Galveston, Texas, people should know that you're a descendant of deep, rich Creole and Southern heritage. As a designer, you launched House of Darion, and Miss Tina by Tina Knowles, and have had your designs featured in Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, as well as in films like Dreamgirls, Austin Powers, and so much more. You and your husband, Richard, also founded the Where Art Can Occur Waco Theater Center, a performing and visual arts center dedicated to empowering artists. I mean, what job have you not done? You have been a makeup artist, director of wardrobe, salon owner, art curator, and now talk show hostess with the mostest. So I'm excited to just jump into talking all about where you find yourself today with this amazing show.
I was beyond excited to do that. You know, it's what I do in everyday life. I'm the Mama Tina that everybody comes to for talks and just comfort. And I'm a mother to hundreds. And it all kind of takes place on my sofa in my living room. And so when I got the opportunity through Facebook, which is, you know, I just want to applaud you guys because We the Culture is so important to what is happening right now with people of color. Just to be able to have a show or to do the many different ways that you guys show love in terms of the culture, to just exhibit that and to have a place to go, a place to be is so important. But everything takes place either in my kitchen or on my couch. And so I thought, wow, if I were to have a show where I could talk to people and they could be very comfortable in the love and support, you know, surrounding them in my home, it would be a nice way to get them comfortable. And so I think we've been able to do that because everybody's felt very comfortable. And, you know, it's interesting because these are celebrities and I know how busy they are and I really appreciate them. I happen to have a personal relationship with all of them. But, you know, when I'm always telling them, I'm very cognizant of your time and I really appreciate it. We're going to get you in and out of here. And what winds up happening is they eat gumbo and they talk and you know, they just kind of hang out. And it's just
they do
a great experience. You've been here, you witnessed it.
I have.
Trying to get them out and they're like, no, we're having a good time. We're not ready to go. So it's been really good. And I feel like I get intimate details because they, without being, you know, without going too far, but because I always respect people, but I feel like they're comfortable. And I really appreciate We the Culture for giving people that creatives that opportunity to show, what they can do. Yes.
Listen, what better person to lead us in conversation than you? The whole point of We the Culture, the we in We the Culture is the creators that are pushing culture forward. And that is you embody that, and you have trailblazed, and you've been really just the design that everyone's trying to follow in the footsteps of. And you're right, I have been in your kitchen and I have had your gumbo. It is amazing. I had the vegan kind and the kind with the sausage and the shrimp in it. And you start all of your shows in that way. I wanted to ask you, other than your amazing food, are there any reflections that you have from any of the episodes? I know you had Zendaya, you had Tiffany Haddish, Pauletta and John David Washington, Chloe Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle Mitchell, and I lead We the Culture at Meta. I'm so excited to be here with the Black House Foundation to represent at this year's Sundance Film Festival, spotlighting the work that we're doing for the Black creative community. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge the ancestral keeper of the lands that we're joining from. Los Angeles, California, which is the Chumash, Tonga, Kij, and Fernandeño Tatviam native land, and from Washington, D.C., which is the Nachtank and Anacostan native land. For those of you who don't know, We the Culture is Meta's love letter to Black culture and those who create it. Our overarching goal is to create a community that affords Black creators the access, the opportunity, and resources needed to thrive, to amplify their work, and to make their creativity sustainable. We announced that we were committing $25 million in our first year. And with that, we supported some 600 plus amazing creatives, which launched 19 episodic Facebook Watch original shows, including one of my favorites, Talks with Mama Tina. We also did content deals with creators. We launched a dozen incubators and accelerators focused on increasing the impact of Black creatives across many different media segments, whether it was our Scene Filmmaker program, our fashion program with Pierre Moss, Your Friends in New York, or our sports incubator, Go Lab. We also had an amazing visual arts program across New York, which was called Not a Monolith. Today, we will be joined by 3 creatives from the inaugural class of We the Culture. Each of them are making waves in their own culture-defining ways. I'm excited to kick off today's conversation with the star of one of our newest shows, Talks with Mama Tina, Miss Tina Knowles-Lawson. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad to see you today. And thank you for joining.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having
Listen,
me.
I'm thrilled to be on the stage with you. You have no idea. Highlight of my life, really. You are an internationally renowned businesswoman. You're a fashion designer, a philanthropist. I want to say a few words about you, even though you need no introduction. Hailing from Galveston, Texas, people should know that you're a descendant of deep, rich Creole and Southern heritage. As a designer, you launched House of Darion, and Miss Tina by Tina Knowles, and have had your designs featured in Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, as well as in films like Dreamgirls, Austin Powers, and so much more. You and your husband, Richard, also founded the Where Art Can Occur Waco Theater Center, a performing and visual arts center dedicated to empowering artists. I mean, what job have you not done? You have been a makeup artist, director of wardrobe, salon owner, art curator, and now talk show hostess with the mostest. So I'm excited to just jump into talking all about where you find yourself today with this amazing show.
I was beyond excited to do that. You know, it's what I do in everyday life. I'm the Mama Tina that everybody comes to for talks and just comfort, and I'm a mother to hundreds. And it all kind of takes place on my sofa in my living room. And so when I got the opportunity through Facebook, which is, you know, I just want to applaud you guys, because We the Culture is so important to what is happening right now with people of color. Just to be able to have a show or to do the many different ways that you guys show love in terms of the culture, to just exhibit that and to have a place to go, a place to be, is so important. But everything takes place either in my kitchen or on my couch. And so I thought, wow, if I were to have a show where I could talk to people and they could be very comfortable in the love and support, you know, surrounding them in my home, it would be a nice way to get them comfortable. And so I think we've been able to do that because everybody's felt very comfortable. And, you know, it's interesting because these are celebrities and I know how busy they are and I really appreciate them. I happen to have a personal relationship with all of them, but, you know, when I'm always telling them, I'm very cognizant of your time and I really appreciate it. We're gonna get you in and out of here. And what winds up happening is they eat gumbo and they talk and you know, they just kind of hang out. And it's just been a great experience. You've been here, you witnessed it.
I have.
Trying to get them out and they're like, no, we're having a good time. We're not ready to go. So it's been really good. And I feel like I get intimate details because they, without being, you know, without going too far, but because I always respect people, but I feel like they're comfortable. And I really appreciate We the Culture for giving people that creatives that opportunity to show, what they can do.
Listen, what better person to lead us in conversation than you? The whole point of We the Culture, the we in We the Culture is the creators that are pushing culture forward. And that is you embody that, and you have trailblazed, and you've been really just the design that everyone's trying to follow in the footsteps of. And you're right, I have been in your kitchen and I have had your gumbo. It is amazing. I had the vegan kind and the kind with the sausage and the shrimp in it. And you start all of your shows in that way. I wanted to ask you, other than your amazing food, are there any reflections that you have from any of the episodes? I know you had Zendaya, you had Tiffany Haddish, Pauletta and John David Washington, Chloe and Halle. Does anything really stick out for you from this first season? Second season.
Zendaya's mom, I was very excited to meet her, and she, shared with me that my mom is, relatively shy, and she doesn't talk to, she's not giving interviews and that type of thing. And we just hit it off immediately. It's been that way with everyone who's come in. I love to bring mothers in because I think that mothers don't get enough credit. So that's a reoccurring theme. And I think that's fun. And of course, Kevin Hart looking at my art collection, which I've been talking to him about a while, and him taking photos of everything and saying, I got it. And, telling me that he's going to go out and get art. I think that's been a reoccurring thing too, because Zendaya was really impressed with the art collection. And it's kind of like an education of young. I have a eclectic collection that goes anywhere from the old classics to very modern contemporary art, and just introducing those young artists to my guests, which has been really fun. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Walking through your home is literally like walking through an amazing museum. And I love that you picked up on the episode with Zendaya, because there was an amazing moment in that conversation where you were talking with Zendaya and her mom about being grounded, and she talked about how her platform wasn't just for her.
That's right.
She talked about the fact that she not only wants to open doors for others, but that she wants to hold the door open. Truly, that's what you do. You do that in everything that you do, and especially through your nonprofit, which is called Where Art Can Occur, Waco Theater Center. I am just blown away, really, in preparing for this conversation, and just like what I know in the world of what Waco does. I want to give people a look at the work that you're doing in action. And when we come back, we will have a very special guest joining us.
We have 3 programs that will be the foundation of what we do and who we serve here at the Waco Theater Center: Tina's Angels, Richard's Warriors, and the Mobile Arts Theater.
Tina and I wanted to create a safe space for young people in Los Angeles to discover art in its many forms.
We're exposing different communities to various forms of art, including theater, music, dance, and poetry.
This is a place where all forms of art can occur.
We at Waco Theater Center believe that theater and art are a powerful, important part of Los Angeles's culture and community.
Our mentors will provide successful and positive role models. We will work on self-esteem, confidence, and physical appearance.
We will also have empowerment seminars, art shows, movie nights. If we can inspire our young people just to dream about what kind of life they want to lead.
If we can surround these people with mentors who are living examples of what is possible for them, then we will have fulfilled our mission.
Now that was incredible. I think that really captures a lot of what you're doing, but I want to hear it in your own words. Welcome to Mr. Richard Lawson.
Nice to be here. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. You are a prolific actor. You're an artist, you're a philanthropist, and you're not new to this. You are true to this indeed. And that truth has led you to share your gifts with others. And you do just that with Miss Tina through the Waco Theater Center. You are co-founders and co-creative directors. Can you tell us a little bit about the theater? And I'll ask Mr. Richard to get us started.
Well, the theater is meant to be a multi-purpose thing. It is meant to be a functioning theater where we produce plays and visual art and dance and things that's going to enlighten, entertain the community. It's also a place where our young artists, our mentees, we have about 100 mentees that we give service to, and it's a place for them to come and expand their art and their creativity. And so it's a very multi-purpose space.
That's fantastic. And you're coming up on your 5th anniversary, is that right? About 5 years operating?
I think it's 5. We've been in this for a while, so it's been
yeah, 6 years. But we
6 years.
Yeah, we say our 5th anniversary, I think, because of the gala that's coming up. Because we
very nice. And can you tell me a little bit about your Angels and Warriors programs? I know that that's sort of the apple of your eye in terms of a lot of the work that's happening there.
Well, the Angels and Warriors started off with us just wanting to mentor kids. When I was growing up, someone came into my life when I was 14 and totally changed the trajectory of my life. I mean, I would not be sitting here if not for this person, because they exposed me. They took me to see Alvin Ailey. And that changed my whole world. I wanted more. I wanted to get out of my little town. Just to see those Black people on stage being so powerful. And not only the Black people on stage, but the people that attended. I was like, oh my God, Black people live like this, because that was not my experience. And so I had the idea always to have a community center to service kids, and I was gonna actually do it in Houston. Richard had the same idea. I mean, he's been doing that for many, many years, providing services and to help young people. And so we got together and we decided we'd do it together. So that's how Waco was born. But the Angels and Warriors is an amazing program that exposes kids to not only the arts, that's a big part of it, but also to help them with whatever needs they have, and to empower them to enrich their souls so that they can decide that they can live beyond what their zip code is and what their area, the limitations that their economic situation imposes on their lives. So we do everything from, helping them with dental care, to testing their eyes, to taking them to Disneyland, or on a overnight trip to stay at a hotel and order room service, which we would take for granted. But for them, that is a huge thing, because they probably wouldn't experience that till they were much older. So it runs the gamut. And Richard can tell you about a film program that's really opened their eyes and ears to what's possible.
Yeah. I would love to hear about this program.
Well, we have a program called For Teens by Teens, and so that we, during the pandemic, we put computers in all of these kids' homes, and we taught them how to become filmmakers, and not so that they could be the next Spike Lee or Ava DuVernay, but so that they can do films and see themselves and really begin to have, look at who they are in reality, and be able to grow and learn about who they are and what they want. Now, the film program is for them to put, to take a look at the challenges that they have as teens and growing up, bullying, body shaming, confidence, lack thereof, family, relationships, suicide, depression, all of those, about 40 or 50 subjects. And they do films about these subjects. Now, the point is for us to create a young person's channel where other young people will be able to come and see the challenges that these people present, so that they understand that they're not alone. Now, the biggest,
That's powerful.
the hope is that we will align with you know, a Kaiser's or some health organization where these kids will be able to call and say, hey, I need to talk to somebody, so that they can really talk about their issues. It's really a wonderful program. And on our Waco TV channel, those films are up there, and you'll be able to go and see the films that these young
Wow.
people are making.
Well, I hope that some of our viewers will go and check out some of the films that our young filmmakers are making. Honestly, as you speak about all the different ways that you are supporting these young people, it really is activism, what you're doing. And I think what's also really cool is how you blend both your activism and your art together. I know one of the things that you do to support all of this and make all of this possible is the annual Wearable Art Gala. I think Kelly Rowland described it as over the top, opulent, and decadent. And Tyler Perry said it was a great opportunity to get together and raise money to support a phenomenal cause. And that is absolutely right. I know, Miss Tina, you're the visionary behind the gala. Do you want to say a few words about that?
Sure. I mean, it's been a labor of love for me, and a way to really honor people in our community. We give awards we give an Everyday People Award for someone who's just, not necessarily a celebrity, but someone who has been an activist and who has helped and changed people's lives. And we also give, of course, the celebrity different awards, but we also dress in art. It's a wearable art day, so you dress in art. So it's a night to just really, for your creativity to go wild. And we're doing our 5th one, and I'm really excited about it because it's going to be spectacular. And it's just a form of real pride for Black people as well, because they get to express themselves and also just to have an amazing party. So
Yes.
I mean, we do everything from the decor to the entertainment. We've had people like Maxwell and Beyonce and Jay, and like the people that attend and support it it's a star-studded event, but it's really for a good cause to raise money to help inner city kids. So, and the art.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you should be very, very proud. Creating a room like that with the energy and the focus on the future is incredible. So my hat is off to you for creating that. And I know the last gala was in 2019, right before the pandemic. And Waco's really been through a bit of a shift through the pandemic in trying to actually engage artists and audiences in the digital world, which is pretty exciting. So Mr. Richard, I wonder if you could tell me a little bit about this new film that you're working on called Black Terror. I know that it was playwright Richard Wesley who wrote this play about 50 years ago. And I heard that you had started out doing a table read.
It was
And
actually
in the matter of weeks, you were doing a feature film. So how did this come to be? And tell me a little bit about what the film is.
Well, as Tina can tell you, everything I do, I started with one project. It was a 2-person poetry reading, and it wound up being a 50-person musical. In this case, it was a virtual play reading, which I hate, because you wind up seeing people's foreheads and stuff, because people are looking down and the background doesn't fit the reality. So we started with that. And I realized that in order really to get this message out, and this play is 50 years old, but what the play was dealing with in 1971, the same thing is happening today. So I saw the importance of creating a larger platform so that the world could see, rather than just a few people who tuned in, the world could see the importance of this argument. It's called Black Terror. It's about a group of Black revolutionaries that are hell-bent on killing the oppressor. And the other side is that there is the protagonist in there who's saying, wait a minute, this is insane. We cannot fight this war on that level. Our revolution has to be political, social, spiritual, mental. It has to be different. And the purpose of this, and the play really explodes to a real strong conclusion.
Yeah.
But the point of this is to get people in dialogue about what is going on. January 6th is no joke. Those people
Yeah.
showed you that revolution is real on that level. We as a people, and we as a culture have to take responsibility for where we go from here. Because if we look at the last 400 years, we've been a little stuck in the mud. We haven't moved very much. We talked a lot. We turned a lot of other cheeks. But what's the answer now? What do we do now to change the course of African Americans in this country, in terms of where we go? What kind of foundation are we leaving our children? Do we want our children to look at what we have left here, where we are, this status quo? What's 50 years from now going to look like? What's 100 years from now going to look like?
I think that the themes that you touch on in this film are so powerful. It is so urgent, and it is current, and past is present. And if we don't figure out some of these lessons, our present will be our future. And I know we want more than that for our kids and our children's children. So the clip that you sent through is really, really powerful. I want us to take a look at that, and then we will be joined by some special guests from the We the Culture Season 1 cohort.
Let's get into the inner workings and the meaning of this. Let's get into the inner workings and the meaning of a black revolution and why black people have a right to take what's theirs.
We are the black terrorists, sworn to the liberation of our people. We seek the death of those who oppress us.
I solemnly swear to you that all the revolutionaries will be brought to justice.
We are the black terrorists, sworn to die for the liberation of our people.
You will guard each other with your lives. Your experience and your knowledge prove to be the perfect complement to Ndugu Kiyusi's revolutionary talents.
They're trying to tear down the greatest country in the world.
Before we can move on the enemy without, we got to move on the enemy within. Why are we always trying to raise a revolution towards death? Why not wage a revolution towards life? Because at least in death, there's some measure of freedom.
You got the makings of a damn good revolutionary, but you think too much.
I'm an assassin, and our duties overshadow any considerations for love and loyalty. When you kill your target, that will mean life for the revolution.
America may have her faults, but there is no place on earth where the Negro has existed.
The revolution is what's happening!
I come alive, yeah. 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 I come alive.
And it's the people that will cause the revolution, and it's the people that will cause the change in the country.
Wow, I'm blown away. I do not understand how we got from table read to that scope and scale. Fantastic. I can't wait to see it. When can we see it, actually? When is it rolling out?
Well, we don't have a date. We have to finish. We have to finish it, and there's a lot. It's a puzzle with 10,000 pieces, and so we're putting these pieces together. And no wine before it's time. But I would say like the fall of the year, probably.
Okay, well, that's fantastic. I know that historically art has played such a huge role in the Black community, but there's always been a lack of resources. And what I was encouraged about was hearing about how much of a community project this is. I know you're a producing partner at the Newark Symphony, but the importance of community in pushing together, pulling together our stories and telling our stories is huge. I want to bring in a few creators from We the Culture's first class, because they have lots of questions for you, but they are also each in their own right telling our stories, and doing so, I think, with an integrity and a truth that I think will feel very kindred to both you, Ms. Tina and Mr. Richard. So I want to bring them in because I think that there's a lot that they can learn from you. And I'd like to see if they have any questions. So first, I would like to bring in Dr. Emmy-nominated producer, writer, and director, Marette Mendefro. Next up, we have Tidra Wilson, AKA TT the Artist. She calls herself a RAD, or a rapper, artist, director. And after I have taken a chance to take a look at her projects, I get it, I understand, and I love it, TT. Welcome. And last but not least, we have Emmy-nominated filmmaker, James Bland. James Bland is also an actor, a writer, a producer. He does it all. And I'm excited to have them join the stage. So please say hello.
Hello, how you guys doing?
Hey, pretty good.
Awesome.
Good.
Hey.
Welcome. So I was just talking to Miss Tina and Mr. Richard about all of the amazing work that they're doing, from, Miss Tina's Talks with Mama Tina, one of our favorite We the Culture shows, the Waco Theater Center, and a new film that they have, which is called Black Terror. And we're going to transition to a talk with each of you about your projects. But I wanted to ask you, creative humans, if you had an opportunity to ask a question to the ones who have gone before you, what would you ask? And I'm gonna throw a jump ball and see who wants to jump in and ask a question.
Well, I could kick things off. Hi, everyone. I'm TT the Artist, rapper, artist, and director. And I just want to say bravo to Miss Tina and Mr. Lawson. You guys are doing amazing work. And so from a creative to a creative, you guys have done so much with helping the trajectory of culture and pushing it forward, both in the arts and in film. And so I'm interested in what today is now really exciting you the most, because you've got a lot of years in the game and you've seen it transform and change in so many ways. So what today, in today's climate, is exciting you most, and what's your big picture?
For me, always the kids are Tina's Angels and Richard's Warriors. That's first and foremost with me, just mentoring the kids, exposing them to many things that they wouldn't otherwise be exposed to, helping them to grow, and also seeing their creative process. It's been amazing to see young kids make films, or kids who, when I met them, wouldn't even hold their heads up, and now they're so confident that they're poets and artists. And that's like my first passion. And of course, the Miss Tina Talks with Mama Tina, just to sit down and do what I do all the time, but to actually record it and for other people to see it, it's been a great thing for me.
No, for me, this is my 6th decade in the business. 1969 was when I entered the business, and it was a desert. There were no oases out there. There was Sidney Poitier, Diane Carroll, and Bill Cosby, and then there were minor roles in blaxploitation films, with those long collars and them hats down side, cocked to the side, gangster lean, and all. There was all of that. Starting there, and even at that point, I realized that if I wanted it, I had to go get it. And from that point to this one, so much has changed in terms of opportunity. And it's in certain ways, things are still the same. But in terms of opportunity and potential, this thing has changed the whole game in terms of what is possible. If somebody wants something today, they put their head down and they go get it. So the possibilities are endless. It's one of the reasons why we cannot be stuck in the mud and not change this culture. We got to change the culture, and it's up to us to make the things, take responsibility and make those change. So for Tina and I, who've had amazing lives, for us, we know that we can't keep it unless we give it away. And so we're giving it to the young people, and we're giving it back to our culture, and we're giving it back to our people. And that is what makes our hearts beat on a day-to-day basis.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
If I,
I didn't know I was
up,
coming to church. Yes, James, please.
Yeah, because
I need all of this.
Mr. Lawson, you said 6 decades, in this business. I want to ask you about longevity. Because, in particular as an artist, writer, director, actor, you see a lot of people come and go, and everyone isn't able to have that type of just longevity, in this business because it ebbs and flows. So what would be your advice or the thing that you would tell a creative like me to make sure that I do so that I could be blessed to have a career that spans, one as long as yours?
I was fortunate enough early on to recognize my purpose, why I'm on this planet. And if you connect with your purpose, your light will never die. Even when you are long gone, your light will still live. It will live in the people that you have inspired and that you've imbued with some sense of integrity or sense of ethics. It will live way past you. Look at Martin Luther King, look at Malcolm, look at Gandhi, look at the people whose purposes burn like Halley's Comet. And so therefore, find your purpose, stay connected with it, and don't compromise. I don't care how barren it looks, stay on that path, and you will find your way, and the universe will make way for you. It may not be pleasant, it's going to be challenging, but stay on the purpose of the path of your purpose, and you will live forever.
These are all messages we need right now. My question is for Miss Tina. As an artist to another artist, and as a mother of 2 young girls, being an artist is hard, and then raising your kids in it all is sometimes a comedy, I guess. I don't know what else to call it, And so what are the words of advice you have? I mean, you raise such self-possessed women, and, what is the advice you would give for how you do that?
Just, people talk about balance. I didn't have any roadmap for it, but what I did do is try to empower my girls and to be behind them in everything that they do. And even today, like I'm coming to here because I've just left a meeting, and my daughter is 40 years old, but she was like, Mom, I'm a little nervous about this meeting. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make it happen. Whatever they need to motivate them, to empower them, they just came first with me. And I talk about balance because I didn't always do so good with balancing. And you're a young mother. I think if I was to tell you any word of advice, it would be to make sure that you take care of yourself, and that's as important as pouring into your children, because I think I kind of put myself last a lot when I was younger. And if I had anything that I do different, it would be to balance a little more for myself. But anything they had interest in, I found a way to do it. I mean, I didn't care how. I found the money, I found the time, I found the transportation. I put a lot into them, and a lot came out of it. And anything you put your heart and soul into, their dreams, whatever they wanted to aspire to do and to be, just constantly give them support and tell them that they could do anything. Even when I didn't know if they could do it, I told them they could do anything. So, yeah.
Wow. I feel like a moment of silence, a nap, I don't know, something, because you have poured so much into us. You both are such an amazing role models. You're an inspiration to many. Your lighthouse shines so far and so bright. and you're lighting the way for so many. Ms. Tina, I thank you for saying yes to being front and center on Talks with Mama Tina. It's fantastic. I know you said that moms don't get enough credit. They don't. And I love that you were front and center on Talks with Mama Tina, and that everyone is seeing your brilliance and seeing you shine. I saw you in person doing it. You're phenomenal. So I stand, I bow down, I am in awe. Mr. Richard, the work that you're doing in the community, fantastic. And just your presence and experiencing just the depth of experience that you've had. Like, if we could just touch the hem of your garment, we know we'll be all right. I want to thank you both for taking the time with us. And, I want to release you to the rest of your day. And I'm going to stick back with these creators to have a little conversation about, some of the projects that they're having and how we're all sort of leaning into We the Culture as we are going about our creative lives and leaning into community and relationship with each other. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And it was nice to meet all of you. I hope to stay connected to your work.
Yes.
And I'll be following you.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
I am still just goosebumps and chills from the conversation we just had with Ms. Tina and Mr. Richard. And I'm excited to get into this next segment. So we're going to shift to talk to some of our top filmmakers from the We the Culture Creator Program's first year cohort. So we're going to dive into each of your creator journeys. Obviously, you were out and thriving before joining We the Culture, and hopefully you were able to grow with us. But I want to talk a little bit about each of your journeys, what you're working on now, where people can find your work. And I want to start with Marat. So Marat, last year, you were nominated for an Emmy for Best Documentary or Nonfiction Series for producing the American Masters documentary, How It Feels to Be Free. It's such an inspiring story of 6 iconic African-American female entertainers. Like, you covered Nina Simone, one of my favorites, Lena Horne, Cicely Tyson. Can you tell us both about the project and also about your road to the Emmy nomination? Because very exciting.
That project started so long ago, and when the world that it came out in was so different from when it started. We started that project, I think, in 2015. It's Yoruba Richin, the director, who's incredible, brought that to me and my producing partner, Lacey. And it was a real labor of love to try and finance, actually, and fund. And thank God we found Canadian partners, shout out Yap Films, to take us to the finish line. But, docs take so long sometimes. So, when it came out in 21, all of a sudden, we're all having a conversation about, everything Black, right? And so it was it was perfect timing in many ways. I look at that film as almost like the prehistory to a lot of the things that were being talked about in representation. I mean, these women were doing things in the 40s and 50s, Lena Horne putting clauses in her contract saying, I'm not going to play a maid. I mean, these women were, way, way ahead of their time. So it was amazing to tell that story. And because of how hard it was to make it, to get a nomination at the end was just icing on the cake. In many ways. So yeah, we just found out we got nominated for an Image Award today, actually. So it keeps on giving. So
it keeps on giving. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
And what inspired it? And what's on the horizon for you for what's next? Because I know, it takes so long to develop these projects and then put them out, right? So once you're doing your victory lap, you're well into something else. So tell us about that for you.
Yeah. So what inspired, there's an amazing book that was written on these women that Yoruba read and was like, this should be a movie. People should know how amazing these, women were for really changing the game around their careers at a time when they really weren't supposed to have a career, So, I mean, I think we're always looking for good stories, to tell good stories with good people that kind of make you second guess what you think you know about the world. So we're working on a documentary right now on reparations, actually, again, with Yoruba at the helm, that will hopefully come out next year. And I think, me personally, right now, I'm really thinking a lot about how you heal on all kinds of levels. You know, it's not just, I mean, obviously my roots, I used to be a doctor, but I really do think stories can heal, you know, and I think our society right now needs globally a lot of healing all around, certainly after COVID, and really trying to think through how do we create that new world, you know? I really feel like we're at some kind of precipice, crossroads, and humanity needs to figure it out on multiple levels.
Yeah.
And so like, I think one of the ways, especially as artists, we can contribute to that is, you know, creating space and shining a light to say maybe this way, maybe that way. So I'm thinking a lot about healing, repairing, you know, just getting to a better place for all of us and certainly for our kids.
Yeah.
My heart and my mind is that.
It's inspiring, honestly. I think one of the threads that tie you all together is really that there's a lot of inspiration, even as there's realness in the work that you all do. And I'm inspired by it. I spent a lot of time watching all the things this weekend. So I'm freshly inspired anew with some of the journeys that you shared. James, I want to talk to you a little bit about your work, whether it's from TV to film. You've worked with amazing people. You've worked with amazing creatives to tell stories on screen, from your projects around From Giants, from your web series, and to your most recent project with HBO, Insecure: The End. So can you talk to us a little bit about your most recent project? And then I've got questions.
Yeah, so Insecure: The End was a documentary special that chronicled just the journey of Insecure, you know, the hit HBO comedy, and the cultural impact. And so, you know, we had the opportunity to be on set, you know, with Issa and Yvonne and Jay and Amanda and Natasha and Prentice and Melina and just the whole, you know, cast and crew as they made the fifth and final season, which we all knew was going to have a huge impact on the culture. But I think the thing that I love the most about the documentary is that we were also able to tell the stories that a lot of people weren't aware of, because it takes a whole village, you know, to make a television show. And there were so many people behind the scenes who also their lives were changed, you know, that viewers, you know, may not know, you know, like the drivers, and of course the writers and, you know, the producers. And so the documentary did a excellent job of just showcasing how this show, how Insecure has really, you know, helped to just kind of shift the landscape of television and open the door for so many young Black creatives to get an opportunity to show and prove what they can do in this industry.
I feel like Insecure is our generation's a different world, honestly.
Sure.
It is so impactful. It is, you know, people, I can't tell you how many arguments I've had that's like, you know, are you Team Lawrence or not? How do you feel about, you know, how Condola had acted around the baby situation? You know, there was a lot of conversation about a hot new character named Desmond in the very last season. How did that come to be? You have to tell everyone how you were in the season finale of this amazing show.
Just being in position. You know, I've had the privilege of knowing Issa since her Awkward Black Girl days. And, you know, I've also known Denise Davis, not only the producer of the doc, but also one of the co-executive producers of the show, for about 8 years. I had the honor of shadowing Prentice on his directorial debut on Insecure in season 2. So I was already just kind of in the mix. And I was doing this documentary, and then this opportunity came around because Issa actually rewrote the finale. So I'm not sure what the first finale was, where these characters landed. I never saw that script. You know, I only saw, of course, the script, you know, that they landed on. There's a character named Desmond, and one day I woke up with a call saying, you know, Issa wanted me to come and set to play this role. And yeah. That's how it happened.
Well, when Issa calls, I don't think that you say no. So Issa, call me.
Yeah.
No,
but for me,
so
it's just
exciting.
One of those things, you know, being a multi-hyphenate. And I always tell creatives and artists, you just got to do the work and put it out, and people will pay attention. And when an opportunity comes around, you know, you want to be prepared for that opportunity. So although I was already directing the documentary, I believe that like when I first moved to LA, people used to tell me I had to choose a lane. Like, you got to be a writer, you got to be a director, you got to be an actor. Like, you got to do one. And I always said I wanted to be a multi-hyphenate. And I was just relentless in the pursuit of being that. And I believe that if you are that first, even before someone else gives you an opportunity, I was that on Giants. You know, I wrote it, created it, produced it, directed, starred in it. And if you do it, yourself, people will then believe that you are what you say you are. And so playing that role, in addition to being able to direct and produce the documentary, was like a manifestation of what I've been saying for the last decade.
You've been laying the groundwork for this for a long time. And it was really inspiring to see. I watched the doc. It was fantastic. You did such an amazing job of capturing both the the arc of the characters and sort of the conclusion and where they landed, but also you really captured, Issa's story. Like, I had never gotten really to see Issa Rae's journey in, creating Insecure, and you really captured, what it looks like to be the head that wears that heavy crown. And like, obviously you can only do that when you're trusted. So kudos to you for bringing us all in. I think that is the beauty of a doc, is like, how do you bring someone into a situation and have them really feel and hear and see the truth of a situation.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And TT, I'm just realizing, lavish life. I'm just realizing that's you.
Are you just realizing?
From the pilot episode.
Right. I was about to say thank you.
Because we were fighting to keep that song in the doc, because we wanted to be able to tie just the journey of also the music in the show with the documentary. So look at that.
I know, and I've been hearing you through the grapevine for a long time. And everybody was like, Sam, like, we kind of had that same kind of trajectory coming up, just like being connected, and one step just leading to the next step, So it's great to be around you guys and actually formally meet and see faces and people that are doing things in the same space as I am, because I'm definitely like fresh, into it.
And but you know what, you might be fresh, but you're doing it so well. We can't tell that you haven't been doing it forever, TT. You exemplify what it means to be a multi-hyphenate. Like, you are not going to choose a lane, even if anyone would try to force you to. And we don't want you to, because you do it all so well. Thank you. Your directorial debut was Dark City Beneath the Beat. The project was stunning. It was a blend of like art and music and culture from Baltimore, and like Baltimore House, which was fantastic. And you more recently directed Alicia Keys' The Untold Stories, which is also phenomenal. Can you tell us about, your journey from your first project to your second, and what you're excited about now?
Yes. Well, my film, Dark City Beneath the Beat, which is a musical documentary about the Baltimore club music and dance culture, first came to me when I was a college student. I would say in 2006. I really didn't have a background in filmmaking, but I found myself in Baltimore and just really inspired by the culture that was coming out of the community. And at that time, it wasn't even being documented. The narrative of Baltimore was really associated with drugs, violence, trauma, and I felt like my experience was completely opposite. So I just wanted to open a window to the creative scene in Baltimore. Also, at that time, I was pursuing my music career as TT the Artist. So I had found myself in this very interesting hub of just brewing creativity. And so I was like, in order to bring resources back to this community, because in most of these spaces and areas, there isn't a big outlet or connection to media or resources that artists can sustain themselves. So I decided to just take the idea and create the most beautiful quilt of imagery that I could, that fused music, art, fashion, that was all coming from creatives from Baltimore. And that's where Dark City Beneath the Beat came from. It was about, the music and the art being the heartbeat, the pulse of the city. Even though there's a lot of darkness to Baltimore's representation, I wanted to change that. And so we opened that window, and I'm just happy to see the impact of doing something like this. And like Richard was talking about earlier, showing young people that light in themselves, because I believe if you do that, that's how we really fight these things that are in our community, like poverty. If you can like spark hope in one child, then they'll go and take that and be inspired. And that's kind of what led me to you know, directing a docu-series for Alicia Keys. But even before that, it was just like James was saying, all these different milestones leading to one goal after the other. And it was actually music that walked me into directing, and then working with HBO Insecure, all 5 seasons, doing music for the soundtrack on an independent level. It just showed me that, if you do believe enough in what your voice is, or, believe enough to find it, then people will start to hear you and see you in the room. So that's really where, it all kind of came from.
I love that. What are y'all doing after this? Because we should just go get dinner or something and just keep building. I think that the community that we are building within We the Culture is just so powerful. And moments like this remind me of, how much power we all have when we touch and agree and we're in a room together and we're saying, like, not only are we going to tell our stories, but we're going to tell the stories of our culture. And you all have done that in different ways. You're literally breaking the mold and walking down paths that, there might not have been a blueprint for exactly everything that you're doing, especially in this new world. I want to end the conversation today talking a little bit about We the Culture, which I know everybody probably about a year and some change ago had a random email message inviting them into something called We the Culture. Which you wouldn't have known exactly what it was going to be, but it was an interesting first ride. I got a chance to do a short film with James this year, which is the first time that we were able to get together with some of the creators. But I'd like to ask each of you what impact We the Culture's had on your creative journey for the past year, what it feels like to be in this kind of a community.
Yeah, I'll just say, doing that film, it was an opportunity for me to connect with other creatives who are here in Los Angeles, doing their thing, and for us to not only just share space and to share food and share some drinks and a good time, but also just share kind of like resources. And I think we need that. Like, I'm big on tribe and big on community. And so I'm just really appreciative of the We the Culture program for fostering this community of artists where we can uplift each other, where we can help each other, we can guide each other. So I think that was the biggest takeaway for me.
Amazing.
I second that. And I think also just the support of, I'm a long form storyteller. So this idea of just moving into a digital space and learning how to play a little more, in it, and not having everything be so perfect and, was definitely useful. And even understanding what my voice is in front of the camera, what that can look like. And just having space to do that was like very, very useful. And something I would take with me. And certainly, the community was amazing. Every event or anything I did with the culture, I always left it thinking, my God, that person's so dope. I need to look them up. I need to, and it's just like all this brilliance magnified. I wish we could just like live in this place. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know. I wish we could live in this too.
So thank you, Michelle. I think it's amazing what you guys are doing.
Maybe we can all move into the metaverse.
You know what? You know what? Have you been looking at my notes, James? Because I'm working on some metaverse stuff now.
Okay.
So we can move in. We can move into the metaverse.
We can have some TT the artist NFTs on the wall.
Yes. We already talking about that. I think We the Culture was a really, really, really great program, and for very many reasons, but I'll narrow it down to my top 2. One, when you're an entrepreneur and you do have a lot of upstart ideas, and not only do you have these upstart ideas, but you've been kind of on that grind for a certain amount of years. Yeah. And, you constantly see the climate change. You're constantly digging for more information on how you can get things off the ground. And for me, We the Culture really helped me hone in a little bit more on the freedom that I had to take time and invest into these ideas that maybe I had been pitching for a year to people. You know, maybe I wanted to go do a music video. And then also, I think it was important to be able to take that content back to these social media platforms and, you know, create a space where not only are you doing the work, but people are starting to understand the type of artist you are, the type of work, it's engaging your community. And, you know, for me, it changed my life dramatically last year because I definitely seen myself elevate. I made a lot of new brand partnerships through the program that will also bring in more sustainability for me. I applied again because I think it's important that, you know, that first year, you know, getting some upstart funds for a business, now you're kind of in the groove, but then it's like, you know, to have the extra support to keep going, I think, well, what could happen from that? So, I love what you guys are doing. I encourage a lot of my peers to apply to the program because this is what we need as a community. We need this type of support.
Well, thank you for sharing your reflections. You know, We the Culture is our love letter to Black culture. I like to talk a little bit about, you know, what success means for us, because people are like, so what do y'all get out of it? It's literally, our success is your success. And I've said that before, but, you know, maybe if I say it a lot, people will be like, okay, she means it. Our success is your success. So TT, when I hear that you've gotten brand partnerships, or if you know, I've heard certain creators have actually gotten long form shows based on the short form content that they were doing, or they met someone that changed their life, or they were simply able to keep the lights on while just focusing fully on their creativity during a time where there was just like, honestly, it was pretty bleak last year. And you're just like, what's the future of creative industries? And like, can I make my creativity sustainable? Yes or no? We love being able to play that role and be the platform where people can build. And we're going to continue doing that. I mentioned at the top that Meta committed $25 million to Black creatives in our first year. We have renewed that for another year. We are well beyond published numbers. Well, this is to double it, triple it maybe. Well beyond that in terms of our investment here, and we're going to continue. You will see some exciting things coming. Audience viewers, please listen. You will see some exciting things coming from us in the very, very near future, and we're going to be opening the doors to a lot more people. So you might not have to be Emmy nominated in the future. You may not have to have a huge following to actually understand how to leverage our platform to build your brand and build your business and make your creativity sustainable. The doors are open, and we will be providing information for people to understand how to get locked in with us. And, you know, we're starting at the bottom, but, you know, the ceiling is right there for us to break. And I'm so excited about pushing through barriers with each of you and supporting each of you on the journey. So thank you for being here today. Thanks again to Ms. Tina and Mr. Richard for joining us earlier in the conversation. Each of you literally exemplify what it means to create and shift and change culture. I'm excited to follow each of you into the future, and also not from very far, like we're gonna be right together heading into the future. We're going to make sure that everybody has ways to find you on your various channels. And don't forget to follow at We the Culture, where you can tap into an amazing community, but also stay up to date on all the dope things that are to come, including the launch of our second year. Thank you for being with us. Thank you to Black House and to Sundance for having us.